What is up, everybody? Welcome to Jamestown. I'm James, and today I'm going to go over the 3 best ways to find cash buyers for all your deals, how to present those deals, and how to talk to the cash buyers. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video where I'm going to go over the number 1 thing I make sure to do when I'm dealing with cash buyers. Let's get into it. Alright, so the first way I find cash buyers for my deal is by using social media. Now, you do social media first because it's passive, and once you have it set up, it just kind of sits there and cash buyers will trickle into you while you focus your attention on the other 2 ways. Now, the first thing I do with social media is I go and I find every relevant Facebook group that's related to real estate and is near my deal. So let's say I had a deal in Chicago. I would go to Chicago, Illinois real estate, Northern Illinois, Northeastern Illinois, Central Illinois, Cook County, pretty much anything that even slightly pertains to the deal because you could never have too many eyes on your deal. Now, some of the groups may take a day or 2 for you to get accepted, which is just another reason that I like to do this first. Now, once you're either in or pending in all the Facebook groups, I'll make a virtual flyer that looks like this. Or actually, I'll have my girlfriend make it, but you know what I mean. And on this flyer, I'll usually have the ARV, how much I want for the property, maybe some comps and some additional information, and a couple of pictures. Then we'll create a post in each one of those Facebook groups that we join that'll include the flyer, extra pictures of the property, and maybe some additional info. Then that's it. You'll have cash buyers coming in over the next few weeks just from this alone, but we ain't done yet. The second way I like to find cash buyers for my deals is by utilizing real estate agents. So I don't know if you knew this or not, but wholesalers and real estate agents, we technically have the same job description. We bring buyers and sellers together. So do not hesitate to utilize them. You could literally call up a real estate office near where your deal is, tell them you have the deal, give them the specs, and see if they have a buyer that they would want to bring to the table. You could offer them a finder's fee, but that might not even be necessary. Now, you can also find fix and flips that are nearby your deal that have recently sold or are currently listed on Redfin and Zillow, and you can actually just contact a real estate agent that represented them on the deal. Their information will be right there on Redfin and Zillow, and you can just call them up and say, hey, I got this deal that's nearby to where your client just finished this one. Are they looking for another project? Now, the deal that I'm currently working on closing is actually a beneficiary of both these first 2 ways. I have 2 offers in on the property, one from a real estate agent I found local to the deal, and the other is actually from my Facebook post. All right, so the third and final way I like to find cash buyers for my deals is by doing a search on one of the main lead databases. As always, these would be Flipster, PropStream, and Batch Leads. So let's run through a real quick example. For my most current deal I told you about with the potential Facebook and real estate cash buyers, that one is kind of out in a nice town by a college. It doesn't need a lot of work. It's just a prime rental spot. What I did to find cash buyers on that one was I went to my database. I searched for properties that had owners that owned 3 or more properties in the area, as well as bought one of those properties in the past year. So this returned a list of about 100 or so landlords that own multiple properties in the same area as my deal and recently purchased one, the perfect candidate for my deal. Now, once I've got my ideal list of 100 cash buyers that I pulled, I'm going to go ahead and skip trace them to get their phone numbers. Again, you can use Fast People Search, which is free, or you could pay a few cents a lead like I do. So once I have their phone numbers, I spent about 45 minutes texting this list of 100 cash buyers, the same way that we do with the seller. Now I'm going to show you an exact conversation I had with a cash buyer that I ended up making a deal with. Okay, and here is an actual conversation that I had with a cash buyer. So I texted him same way I text my motivated sellers, first name and a question mark. Very enthusiastic response, that's always a good sign. So then hit him with the script. So usually when I'm doing cash buyers, my script is always, my name is James. Sorry for the random text, always apologize immediately. I saw you had investment properties near where my deal is, list the city, and I'm looking for a buyer for my property there. Now, I've actually recently switched the script to I'm looking for a buyer for my deal there, to not insinuate that I'm the owner of the property as much. Illinois can be a little strict sometimes. So then she was instantly excited. She's a real estate agent. So then this is where I usually send them. At first it was a picture of my flyer. I kind of showed you guys my flyers in another video. At first it was a flyer, and then eventually I was able to afford and understand how to do a website. So at this point I sent her a link to my website where the property is listed pretty much in an identical manner to the flyer, just with additional pictures and maybe a little more information. So then she asked if she said she'd be interested, went on to basically say I'm a wholesaler. I said sure. She tells me, okay, well, she's a cash buyer, she can close quick. I said, perfect. We set up a time for a showing. She ended up seeing the house, putting an offer on the house. As you guys see in a little bit later video when I talk about negotiating, I tried to get her to come up. She actually ended up not getting the house because she was short by like $500 to the guy I ended up going with. That wasn't the only reason that I went with that guy, because somebody actually had offered even more than him, but yeah, she wasn't even able to get up to as much as him, so she got left. But that is exactly, I just texted her out of the blue with my script, located her how I told you in the database, and she would have been the perfect person for me to sell my deal to if I had needed to. So just like that, I would have found one, no problems. This is also where that flyer we made comes in handy, because every time a cash buyer messages you back and says, hey, what is this? What's the square footage? What are the numbers? How much is the rehab? No matter what the question is, you just send them the flyer. So once you do this method and burn through a list of 100, let's say, cash buyers, you should definitely have more than a few cash buyers that want to come see your deal, assuming that you have a good deal. So now we found our buyers and it's time to show the property. So let's say we're about 4 days into having executed contract. We have our cash buyer from Facebook, we got our cash buyer that was the real estate agent, and we have 2 new cash buyers from our database search. So now what we want to try to do is find a singular time where all the cash buyers can make it to the property to see it. A, this creates a sense of competition between them, and B, it's just the most time efficient thing to do. You're not going to have to make multiple trips out to the property, or in my instance, since I'm doing this virtually and the seller still lives at the property, I want to disturb them as little as possible. Now, unfortunately, because I had some more cash buyers come in after the first showing and the Facebook cash buyer wasn't able to make it, I actually had to show the property 3 times. Now, I was actually there in person the first time that I showed the property because I really didn't trust one of the cash buyers I was talking to go be there with her alone. So I actually drove my ass hours to go protect my deal. So if you're doing a local deal, you have no reason not to go protect your money. Now, this was the first and only time that I was meeting the seller too, so it actually gave me a great opportunity to build rapport with her. Now, ultimately, this ended up paying off because we have a constant open dialogue now, and she's open to showing any cash buyer her house for me and giving me notes about it. And I have nothing to worry about, all because I built such good rapport with the owner in the beginning and throughout the deal. All right, now the interested cash buyers have seen the properties and it's time to negotiate. So for my current deal, I have it under contract for $75K. I wanted $95K. I got 3 offers, 2 for $85K and 1 for $87. So it's not quite what I wanted it at, but it's still a pretty good deal. Now, at the time of this video, I think it's about 2 weeks out from close. I haven't chosen a cash buyer yet, but I'm probably gonna go with the Facebook guy. Now, he didn't have the highest offer, short by $2 grand, but I would gladly sacrifice that because I did my due diligence and found out that he's a straightforward businessman that's worked with some of my partners in the past and always closes on time. And I'm willing to make a sacrifice to make sure that my deal goes through as planned. So now you've chosen your cash buyer, executed the assignment contract, and received your $5,000 non-refundable deposit, your deal is as good as closed. Again, subscribe, comment contracts please down below, and I'll send them right to you. Now, you'll still be answering questions, communicating, holding hands, and walking people through it, but as long as you've received your non-refundable deposit and the seller started packing their shit, it's as good as closed. All right, so to sum it all up, once you get contracts executed with the owner, you want to make a professional flyer. Post that to all relevant Facebook groups. Meanwhile, you're going to be pulling a list of cash buyers from your lead database. You're going to skip trace and then go ahead and text all of them the flyer and information to see who's interested. This has been my method since I started a few months ago, and it's made me tens of thousands of dollars so far. I always end up with more than a handful of cash buyers that are interested in my property, and from there it's just about being upfront, honest, and confident. My number 1 tip is to act like you've been there before, but not like you own the place. You want to be confident, stand on your own 2 feet, and stand behind what you say and do, but you don't want to talk over people and act like you know more than them. Do your due diligence, research your cash buyers, and go with who does good business. It's all about relationships and connections, so make sure you focus on that. All right, now you should have no problem finding cash buyers for your deals. But if you run into trouble, leave a comment down below. I'll answer any questions, weigh in, give you advice. You guys can help each other out, but make sure you subscribe, smash the notification bell so you don't miss out when I go over how other wholesalers actually tried to steal my first deal and how I stopped them. You're in Jamestown now. Relax, take some notes, and let's make some money.